Hello and welcome. This is Japan, and this is my Elimination Chamber predictions. It's kind of a loaded field, obviously, with the two Elimination Chamber matches. I think the two other matches, they're solid and they deserve to be on the card because they're fun matches, but they're not like anything like landscape changing to this whole thing. I mean, I guess Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn could possibly lead into a WrestleMania match, but I don't think the other match really does that. So we also have The Rock being there with Cody answering him about selling his soul. Now, this whole thing is kind of a interesting thing, and I guess we're gonna predict if he sells. Uh, Honestly, I really feel like this would be a really good idea to do it. I feel like the thing with Cody is that he's an extreme baby face, and this could give him a little bit dimension to his character, and could possibly, be really, a really good idea. So I feel like it does have to happen with like Jay winning against Gunther. I think you have to replace a baby face with a baby face on one of the big titles because it just makes everything, flow better. So I'm gonna say Cody says yes. I feel like there's some narrative thread for later that I feel like Cody has to say yes here to make the rest of my predictions correct. My predictions this video are like very hinged on my own opinion of like what I feel like WrestleMania is going to be like. This is not necessarily going to be something that is, guaranteed. Then we have Tiffany Stratton and Trish Stratus versus Nia Jax and Candice LeRae. I think this is going to be a kind of an interesting match. Obviously, Stratus is back in Canada, back being from a match. I feel like this is a pretty cool like go pair up. Honestly, I really believe Tiffany wins here no matter what, but I could possibly see Trish turning on her, which could set up a mini feud and kind of have Tiffany have her eyes off the ball of Charlotte Flair. Because I mean, her taking down Trish and Charlotte in a couple months span is a lot to really put under your belt, and that could be a thing that they do. But that I'm not 100% predicting. I'm just throwing it out there into the universe as something that could happen. But I do think Tiffany wins no matter what. She's a champion. She needs a solid win before WrestleMania, so it has to be her. And then we have Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn in an unsanctioned match. I don't really honestly feel like there's like what an end to this match. It's just basically one of them is going to get completely destroyed, and then that's when they end it. And I feel like it has to be maybe Sammy winning here because Sammy wins, destroys Kevin Owens, and then Kevin comes back at him at WrestleMania. It doesn't really flow if it's the other way around as much, so I could see that being the case, like that Sammy wins here. I guess is the thing. It's an unsanctioned match, so I don't really know exactly how that works of like wins and losses. I think Sammy's just gonna like stop beating on him at one point. But I'm gonna go Sammy here. Then let's go with the women's elimination chamber match. I'm just so pumped for these matches. It's Liv Morgan versus Alexa Bliss versus Bianca Belair versus Bayley versus Naomi versus Roxanne Perez. I'm gonna go from bottom up of thinking who's gonna be not necessarily the first eliminated, but the less likely person to win. First off, we'll go with Alexa Bliss as the least likely. Nothing against her talent or anything like that. I think she's just back way too soon. I don't feel like having her build, like coming back right away and having that build to WrestleMania is necessarily what is needed. I think she's kind of lying around with like the why it's sick, and I think she has some other bigger stuff planned behind the scenes of like like I think she has stuff already planned for WrestleMania in the next couple months. So I don't think she's necessarily needed to win here to go against Rhea. I think that's also kind of the thing. I think like her and Rhea's rivalry might not be as good as some of these other ones. So I think she's the least likely. Next up, I would probably go with Naomi. I feel like Naomi's path here is going to be one of those crazier moments because I feel like Bianca's going to turn on her for getting pinned for the tag team titles. I guess that's kind of like wishful thinking that like they're going to keep progressing this her, Jade, and Naomi storyline because I think like if Bianca attacks Naomi or even just fights her, that could signal to Naomi that maybe she was the one that attacked Jade. I don't really know here. It's kind of one of those like really 50-50 things if they're even gonna even mention that or even have that as part of the storyline. Next up is now when it starts to get a little bit dicey. I'm gonna go with Roxanne Perez. Not that like her winning this wouldn't be an amazing moment. Like if I'm just booking this as truly like I want to see the craziest thing happen, Roxanne Perez winning here is absolutely the call. I think she would be well deserved, and she has a great move set and great mic skills that would be really good against Rhea Ripley. So I would love to see that match, but I think we might be a little bit too soon to that just based off of everything else that's out there. But I would definitely not be upset if Roxanne Perez. Honestly, I would not be upset with any of these women winning against Rhea to go against Rhea because they're all really banger matches. Then we got what we got Liv, Bianca and Bailey next, or like what's left. I'm gonna go with Bailey being the next one up as least likely to win. Bailey's just like a solid performer. Like she could easily just be put into that match if Rhea's like the plans for Rhea to retain and just have a solid match. Bailey would be the person just to throw in there. I do believe like Bailey and Roxanne Perez are gonna have like a one-on-one match at WrestleMania. I think that's kind of where they're headed, and I'm fine with that too. So hopefully maybe that's the case. And that would give them both a match. Like that's the thing, you want to be in this elimination chamber match to at least get a match at WrestleMania, even if it's not a title match. You just want to make sure you're there. So then we got Liv and Bianca, and this is kind of a throw up to whoever you want. I personally believe that Liv is going to win it. Now, my feeling with Liv winning it is just my own idea of what I want to see happen because I don't want to see Liv versus Rhea. No, not at all. That is not why I'm picking that or what I want. I really don't want that, not one bit. And now the tag team titles with them being flipped does make this a lot more complicated. So that is also makes it this whole prediction thing a lot more difficult with the tag team titles being flipped. But I want Liv to win so that when Io faces Rhea the next night or 2 nights later at Raw, she is Liv is so mad that she obviously wants Rhea Ripley. She doesn't want Io Sky because Io has pushed her to the limits a lot. That she costs Io Sky, and they have no other choice but to add Io Sky and make it a triple threat. That is my dream matchup here for WrestleMania, and this is the only narrative thread of how it works. It has to happen with Liv winning the Elimination Chamber and costing Io the very 2 nights later. And that could be how we get this triple threat, how we get the best match for WrestleMania. Now, Bianca up there, again, I'm completely on board with Bianca versus Rhea, especially if Bianca's turning heel. That would be really fun. Now, I feel like her destination is tied to Naomi and Jade Cargill for the time being because that's the storyline they're telling. But we don't actually know because we don't know exactly how close Jade is. So I still think she has a very high chance, but I'm gonna go with Liv Morgan. Then let's go to the men's title or the men's elimination chamber match. We got John Cena versus CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre versus Logan Paul versus Damian Priest versus Seth Rollins. So really stacked card. Honestly, it's just a who of world champions. Obviously, 5 out of 6 have won a world championship, and have all of them have won a championship. Not fairly, I was gonna say recently, but John Cena hasn't and CM Punk hasn't. I was gonna say they've been in that title hunt since they've been around. Obviously, John Cena hasn't been around, but like more of when he was here. So let's go from the bottom up. Obviously, easiest one to put at the very bottom is Logan Paul. He's here for the name recognition and for whatever skills he's going to put in. But I don't see there any way in hell that he wins here. It makes no sense to run it back because it would be Logan Paul versus Cody Rhodes, and we already have seen that. Again, I'm going to go with my prediction is still based off of him saying yes to The Rock. Him saying no to The Rock, I probably also maybe should predict, but this is my prediction for if he says yes to The Rock. Next up, I really do think it's going to be Damian Priest. Nothing against Damian Priest. I think he's getting pushed fairly well and doing very well on SmackDown, but I don't think this is where like the narrative thread. I don't think him going against Cody Rhodes. I honestly don't think it's a bad match, but I don't think it's a WrestleMania probably main event match. Next up is where it starts to get a little dicey. I'm gonna have to put John Cena here. Unfortunately, with John Cena's comeback or his failure tour, is that we just haven't seen him, and I know that's kind of a meme at this point, but like that is kind of a hard thing to be pushing somebody who's not here and really thinking that like he's gonna win with all these promos. I mean, even like Logan Paul cutting promos gives me more hope than John Cena, but it's just name recognition that I think he's still gonna have a very good shot. Again, it kind of does increase his chances because I would have probably put John Cena as second to last if it wasn't that I feel Cody is like turning or saying yes, because then John Cena as the ultimate babyface of history would be a very good matchup because two of the biggest baby faces, other than like this is a passing of the torch moment, doesn't make a lot of sense. But again, this is for if Cody says yes. I think that does really have a big fin on it. So then we got a really stacked top three. I'm gonna probably have to go with Drew McIntyre here. It's kind of just it honestly is all kind of like within percentiles from each other because yeah, like Drew McIntyre is still really solid. He's had a great push this year, had a lot of stuff happen, so I could definitely see him being in that position to do it. But he's also had a lot of stuff, and I don't think he's necessarily needed here to do it. And I think Cody versus Drew uh, would be okay, but I don't think it's necessarily needed. So then next up, we have Seth Rollins, I think is going to be the second to last. Now, Rollins makes a lot of sense. The story between him and Cody and all of that is kind of a really cool long-term, thing for when Cody's coming back. I think it does work with him saying yes and Seth Rollins feeling like he's sold out. I think all of that is a really good thing, but I still think it's going to come up short because I think CM Punk's going to win it. I think Punk winning it has a lot of avenues that they can do. Obviously, if The Rock can do a match, they could do Cody and The Rock versus CM Punk and Roman Reigns with CM Punk cashing in that favor that he has from Paul Heyman. Again, this is just dream matchups and predictions of throwing it out into the ether and hopefully maybe being correct because then I could clip it and be like, hey, look at I predicted this on this day. So yeah, there's still a lot that could happen. I do believe it's CM Punk. I believe that it is the best matchup. Plus, it gives Punk his main event that he didn't get, and I think they were already planning on pushing him against Seth Rollins last year, but the injury got in the way. So I really feel like this was just a borrowed time move to let him to win it here. So yeah, I'm thinking it's CM Punk now. I think it does complicate things if Cody says no, because if he just stays that ultimate baby face, I do think that The Rock then goes and talks to one of these people to get them to turn. And then I think that might be like a Drew McIntyre. Like, I think there could be a better possibility that Drew McIntyre jumps up to maybe winning it if The Rock isn't involved. I do think that there is some narrative thread there that could work. I do still think CM Punk is the most likely to win, and that's who I would be selecting here. But yeah, tell me what you guys think. It's kind of one of those crazy cards that could go either way, and I'm just excited to see the whole thing because I think this is going to be badass. And yeah, this has been Japan. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye, guys.